Sometimes it's dangerous to cover the Sefer Torah in very expensive jewelry and clothing and garments, even though it's a mitzvah. Ze keli vanveu. It's an amazing thing. It's hidur mitzvah.
Wherever you get your podcasts from, or our own website, prismoftorah.com. This is the Prism of Torah with Rabbi Saf Aaron Prisman. This week, Parshas Haazinu. If I were a true rich man.
Shalom to everyone. I hope everyone had a meaningful Yom Kippur. Seeing that the time is short, there's only a couple days till the next Parsha. I want to share with you something short, sweet, cute, and hopefully to the point that my daughter showed me. So I want to share with you. It's based on the Parsha, or up to Parshas Haazinu. In Perek Lamed Beis, Pasuk Tet Vav, it says, Vayishman Yeshurun Vayiv'at. Yeshurun, we know, is referring to Am Yisrael. A person that indulges himself with the physical pleasures of this world eventually just fattens himself with that, and at the end kicks away what's really important, which represents a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Says the Chofetz Chaim on the Torah, brings a beautiful mashal that shows that sometimes it's the poor people that appreciate what life is all about more than the rich people. Of course, that's not always true, but it can easily be that way, and I'll explain why. Chofetz Chaim says the following mashal. Again, it's not always this way, but it could be found. The mashal that the Chofetz Chaim brings is the following. Once upon a time, as the little kids always like me to start a story this way, there were two sisters, grew up in the same way, in the same household, and one married someone rich and one married someone poor. After a decade of years, the poor sister wants to go visit the rich sister, so she goes to her city, and of course, this important worker comes up to greet her. He's dressed in very fancy clothes. She was, of course, very surprised because she's not used to that fancy type of dressing. But he brings her into the hallway, and over there's a lounge, a very nice lounge, and he says, "Wait, just here for a moment, please." Comes the rich sister. She almost doesn't recognize her. She's very thin. She has tons of jewelry, very expensive clothes. But okay. So she sits down, sinks into the very expensive couch. And as they're speaking to one another, she realizes that her facial expressions scream out she's a bit sad. So she confronted her and said, Are you happy? Is everything okay? So the rich sister started crying out, bursting into tears, and says to her sister, "You should know that maybe it looks like I'm the happy one because I have everything I want. It's true. I have these expensive pieces of jewelry, I have nice clothes, and anything I want my husband will buy me. But at the end of the day, I don't get any honor from my husband. He doesn't give me respect in front of people. He doesn't give me time of day. You're probably a lot happier than me. Maybe you're surprised that I'm saying this to you. But despite the fact you're poor, I'm sure your husband respects you. He gives you a lot of honor and time of day, etc." Says the Heilige Chofetz Chaim, there's some kehilot, some congregations, that they don't have a lot of money. And their shuls, they don't look unbelievable. The Aron HaKodesh that contains the Sefer Torah also doesn't look amazing. And the Sefer Torah itself, it looks very simple. But he says, for sure the Torah is happier there, as opposed to some congregation that has a beautiful shul, a beautiful Aron HaKodesh made of gold, silver, all kinds of very expensive stones. The cover of the Sefer Torah is beautiful. But at the end of the day, do they abide by the Torah? Do they give kavod to the Torah by living a life of Torah? No. Ad kan divrei Chofetz Chaim. And you see this idea that the more a person indulges himself in this life's pleasures, that's what ends up happening. So yes, it's a bigger nisayon for a person that has a lot of money. On the other hand, he can flip that over and use and leverage that situation, that nisayon HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him, to something amazing. He can support learning Torah. He can ensure other people are learning Torah. He can invest in organizations of chesed. Everyone has their choices. As we know, the optical illusion is created for us over here to have our freedom of choice, to choose the right way to ensure we get our ticket into Olam Haba, as we say now, over and over again, that the Mesilas Yesharim brings down. Even though it might not be the typical Dvar Torah I usually send, but I think it's very important to start off the new year, quote unquote, after Yom Kippur, with this idea in our mind. I think each one of us on our level realizes really truly what life is all about. And we have to ensure we live our life based on that. Sometimes it's dangerous to cover the Sefer Torah in very expensive jewelry and clothing and garments, even though it's a mitzvah. Ze keli v'anveu. It's an amazing thing. It's hidur mitzvah. But sometimes we satiate our thirst for Yiddishkeit by doing these external things and not connecting to the neshama of the mitzvah. That's really the point I wanted to bring out. Yiratzon, that now we're beginning a new year, we're before Simchas Torah, which represents this idea of abiding by the Torah and truly being happy that we completed the cycle of the Torah, and we have an opportunity now to restart learning Torah again. A person can take upon himself, if he's already learned with Rashi. If not, he can learn with Rashi. If yes, it's very important to learn the Ramban. It's very deep insights about what life is all about. Yiratzon, that each one of us continues to grow. That's what's important. And Yiratzon, that we don't only cover the Torah with fancy diamonds, but rather connect to the spirit, to the neshama of the Torah, and through that be zoiche to continuously grow and get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is what life is all about. Have a good Shabbos.
Thank you for joining us. This is the Prism of Torah. Visit our website, prismoftorah.com, where you'll find a full archive of hundreds of past Divrei Torah. Subscribe to the podcast, leave us a review, and don't forget to share with your friends and family. Sponsorship opportunities are available for all of our episodes. Thank you, Yona Vefa, for your recording equipment. Produced by Eli Podcast Productions.